Should have gone to Vegas.
Now, is it me, or is it really quiet in here?
Hey guys, welcome back to Horrorfiction. I'm your host Subhankar. Today, we'll be looking into a British supernatural horror movie released in October 2017 called The Ritual. Before we begin, this video is dedicated to explore and dive into the mythos behind the brilliantly designed creature, which is also the primary antagonist of the movie. Thus, this video is not a full-fledged review video, but I will spill a few thoughts along the way. If you want that, then here is a very short review from me about the movie. Go for it. It's worth a watch. I wouldn't speak for the hardcore horror fans and the horror aficionados, but if you have a modicum of fondness for the horror genre, then this movie won't let you down. Plus, it's on Netflix and it takes only 90 minutes of your time. Apart from the creature, its design and the mythology, I would like to compliment two chief aspects of the movie: the cinematography and the sound design. Andrew Shulkin is the cinematographer for this movie, and he also worked as a cinematographer for another David Bruckner directed, acclaimed horror movie, Southbound. Andrew began his career by working closely with prominent cinematographers like Janusz Kaminski, Dariusz Konzi, Emanuel Lubezki, and Don Burgess. From eerie wide-angle shots to close-up shots, the variations and the fluidity among them packs a great visual storytelling and compounds the paranoia and the fear of the dark and the unknown. And since an ample of the movie takes place in night, Andrew and the crew went really creative to make it feel as natural as it should be on low-light photography. Now coming to sound design, Ben Lovett served as the composer for this movie. Ben, an award-winning composer, designed a score for the movie in relationship to the characters and the narrative arc that follows across the story, from loss, fractured relationships, hope, and the encounter with fear. Now let's get into the creature. Hands down, one of the best creature designs in the recent years. Now let's take a moment and admire the works of the design and the effects team. David Bruckner brought in Keith Thompson, a concept artist for Guillermo del Toro, who has worked on Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, Pacific Rim, The Strain, and Crimson Peak. The effects team that gave the final shape are Josh and Sierra Russell of Russell EFX. Although the creature is unnamed in the movie because
We do not say its name.
but in the books it is known as Modar. Now let's take a look into its appearance. Modar is depicted as an enormous elf-like creature, and instead of a head, it has a headless human torso. This torso head has a pair of antlers instead of arms. It has a shadowy gaping hole containing glowing yellow eyes. It also possesses a second pair of human arms near its hips. In the movie, Modar is revealed to be an ancient god or a godlike entity who is the bastard offspring of Loki. Yup, Loki. He is also a Jotun. So Jotnar are entities unlike gods who appear mostly across the Scandinavian folklore, and they are sometimes also referred to as giants. Although the word giants is not to be confused with being a gigantic figure, which is not necessarily true in case of the Scandinavian folklore. Some notable Jotnar that you might be familiar with are Jormungandr, Fenrir, Hel, Sleipnir, who are all the offsprings of Loki. On a side note, in the eponymous novel by Adam Nevill, Modar is never depicted as a Jotun, but just as a god, and that David Bruckner went on this direction of the exposition by himself. Take a look. Modar is worshipped by a cult. inhabiting the same wilderness, and in return, it offers and blesses them with immortality and life devoid of pain. But not all are chosen, and in fact, it is hell bent on killing almost all the trespassers who enter the forest. The chosen ones are those who have endured most pain and suffering. Thus, Luke is chosen over the others. Although there may be another subtle criteria for choosing, which is timidity, but more on this later. Modar possesses several abilities and powers: superhuman strength, telepathy, essokinesis, which is reality warping, shapeshifting, and a range of supernatural powers. Its primary mode of killing is impaling onto trees, and that the worshippers never remove the dead bodies from the trees. From here onwards, we dive into the extended lore. Firstly, the impaling could be a reference to Odin, impaling or hanging himself on Yggdrasil, the mythical tree in Norse cosmology that connects the 9 realms. And speaking of Yggdrasil, the forest could also be an extension of this cosmic tree, and that Modar was thus protecting it. Next, we look into 4 runes noticeable in the movie, especially Elder Futhark runes that may be significant to the plot. The Elge's rune, which translates into elk, represents the divine might of the universe. The rune is also associated with sacrifice to achieve a higher self, and in case of folklore and mythology, godhood, which is kind of like immortality. And thus in return, protection is bestowed upon those who sacrifice, just as immortality is bestowed upon the cultists in the movie. The Othala or the Odal rune is the rune of the ancient clan lands, historic land and property which has a strong spiritual connection to the individual. Its literal translation means property and land. This signifies the fact that the forest is in fact the homeland of Modar and its worshippers, and thus it eliminates everyone who sullies its land. The next rune is although not clear, but assuming it is the Notice rune. Its meaning is related to necessity, constraint, and the inevitability of human suffering, a very subtle nod to the story arc. Then there is the Barkana rune, which is also not clear enough. It is the rune of continued growth and continual rebirth or renewal in all things, as immortality and a painless life could be viewed as a kind of rebirth. Next, we look into the mythological similarities of Modar with other cultures. The first striking similarity that comes to mind is of the Leshy from the Slavic folklore. Leshy is the tutelary deity of forests, although very different, but he is represented as an old man with long hair and beard, with flashing green eyes, and he may manifest in the form of animals such as bears, wolves, and hares. In the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt video game, a creature known as Leshen exists, which is inspired from the Leshy and is eerily similar to Modar visually. Then there is the Chort, considered to be an anthropomorphic demon of total evil of doom, with horns, hooves, and a skinny tail, and an inspiration of which also exists in Witcher 3 Wild Hunt video game. Other mythological figures that bears a little resemblance are Nuklavi from Orcadian mythology and Dullahan from the Irish mythology. The creature is awesome and the lore is even more fascinating, and I hope that you have got a good grasp of the lore behind it. Let me know if I have missed something in the comments. So thank you for watching this video. Drop a like, leave a comment, and please remember to subscribe to my channel. See you soon.